Hello everyone. It's Lindsay Landry, energy alchemist and heart shaman for healers and soul-led entrepreneurs who are ready to call in deeper intimacy, more prosperity, flow, alignment, magic. So today is day 4 of I Am Magic. And today we're going to be diving into receiving love, abundance, and magic. So just to recap thus far, day 1, let's say that since we started on Tuesday. Day 1, we talked about your energy is everything. Day 2, we talked about you are the one that you are longing for. Day 3, which was yesterday, we dove into surrender. And today we're talking about receiving. So if you're just getting here for the first time, welcome. Let me know below that you're here. If you're watching the replay, let me know that you're here. Today, there's a few different things that we're going to be diving into. So we're going to look at what is actually blocking the flow of receiving. We're going to look at what needs to happen to open your channel so that you can receive more love, abundance, magic. And we're going to do an energy practice exercise to help you open your energy. So that is the agenda. So before we dive in, let's just take a few breaths together, receiving some breaths. So you might put one hand on your heart, maybe one on your belly or your womb. Yeah, and just allow yourself to take a deep breath in through your nose. You might just sigh it out or release it in whatever way it's desiring to be released. Let's take 2 more. So in through the nose. Really feeling your breath as it moves through your heart space, your belly. And then also as you're exhaling it, feeling that energy move. Feeling the breath almost like as it's massaging your insides. And so with your next breath, I really want you to pay attention to this. Bring your focus to the massage, like this internal massage that's happening with your breath. So go ahead and take a breath in, really feeling it as it's making its way into your belly. And then as you're breathing out, again, feeling that internal massage. Let's do one more, and with this breath, see if you can allow yourself to receive it. So feel the massage, and can you receive the massage of the breath? I don't know if you can hear the humming. I don't know if it's the refrigerator or it's something outside. Beautiful. So you can practice this breathing exercise, just really being with your breath and feeling that massage, that internal massage, and receiving your breath. Sometimes I like to set a timer. Sometimes I like to just sit and take, maybe 5 breaths and just kind of be present with the sensation. And that can help anchor you in and bring you more here into your body, your vessel, okay? So yesterday we dove into surrender, and holy moly, what an activation for me. So I was feeling all sorts of anxiety and nerves as I as I was arriving to do that recording, and then after as well. I noticed all of this fear, all of this energy started being rattled. And even last night and this morning, it was so much energy moving through. And I was like, oh yeah, we're in a surrender portal, you know, when I'm holding space, whether it's a 4-day container like this, or if it's a group program, the energy seems to move through me in that way. You know, I sort of channel what's happening for the group and for the collective. And so, yeah, I was really feeling it. And today, you know, I woke up this morning, I was sitting with the energy, I was being present with it, I was in prayer with it. And, you know, I was like, what do I do with this? Like, I don't know what to do with it. And, I found myself like feeling for like, okay, is there an action that I need to take? Or is it just about being present? Is it just about feeling it? I did some journaling, and it was sort of like in my body. And, you know, when we're in a state of surrender, sometimes this happens. And that's why I'm wanting to share it with you, because it can be somewhat humbling, you know, like we have these ideas of like surrender, like, oh, I'm just going to back float and it's going to be this beautiful process. And sometimes that is what surrender is like. And then sometimes, you know, like we're kicking and fighting, and, you know, there's parts of us that are like grasping and not really wanting to let go. And so I noticed, you know, this internal fight, and I was just kind of witnessing it and, staying present with it. And finally I messaged a friend, and you know, I was like, how are you feeling today? Because this is the things that I'm feeling. And she shared with me that she was feeling a little energetic, you know, wonky too. And she gave me a prompt, and I ended up sharing a little bit more specifically with her, like something that was forward for me. And she gave me this beautiful, like, permission that part of me was needing, the part of me that was fighting. And through that, it allowed me to take the action. And then I realized I needed to surrender to receive. You know, so like part of the surrender was even like surrendering to like, okay, what am I being guided to do? I have no idea. And then I'm like fumbling a little bit. So I reach out to connect. And then it's like in that connection, I actually receive what I need. And, you know, I went to the bank, and the woman at the bank, I was going to order some checks, and she was like, I just want to be honest with you. Like, the price went up. It's really expensive. You could actually get them so much cheaper somewhere else. And so, when I left the bank, I realized, I was like, oh, I just received support. I received direction. Like, the universe is wanting to support me all of the time. Right. And so our perception is part of the shift into receiving. And we're going to talk about this, like receiving actually being a state of being rather an active thing that we're doing. Okay. So the first thing that I want to look at is like, what is really blocking the flow of receiving? And when we get into the space of thinking like, well, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy enough, or I'm not valuable enough. Typically there's something that is like, there's something else, right? Because you in your divine nature, of course you're valuable enough. Of course you're enough. Like, you don't have to be anything more than what you are to receive right now in this moment. You can receive your breath, right? Life is always available to you. Gravity is holding you right now in this moment. You don't have to do anything for that. You can be a total hot mess today, and air is still given to you, and gravity is still supporting you. So you do not need to be in a certain state to receive. You do not need to fit yourself in a box. You do not need to be more worthy, be more valuable. Like you are. Just because you are here, you are worthy, you are valuable. Okay, so let's just remember that. And like, if we go back to day one, what we talked about is God is within you. The Holy Spirit is within you just because you are a human, and that is how humans are made. So just orient back to remembering that, and that in itself, you are enough. Okay, so the thing that's really blocking us is all of this energy that isn't really who we are. And that was one of the things that I was noticing this morning. I'm like, okay, all of this resistance, this fight, this like sort of chaotic energy that I was feeling, I'm like, this isn't even who I am. These projections, it's not even who I am. But when we get confused and we're holding these energies that aren't ours and we think they are, then that actually is going to block the flow of prosperity and love and receiving, right? Because it's like we are protecting ourselves, or we don't think we're worthy then because we're holding energy that's not ours. It's like if you go step in a mud puddle and you have mud all over you, like you're going to be tracking around mud. It's not that you're a dirty person. It's that you stepped in mud, So when our energy is not flowing, when it's not aligned, it's because there's old programs, there's old stories, there's old beliefs that aren't who you are. And so when you realize it's not actually about you, it's more about shedding what isn't you, you can kind of let yourself off of the hook, right? And then from that perspective, life is always giving to you. Life is always giving to you, and life always wants to give to you and provide for you. Your breath, the oxygen, it wants to give to you. It wants to support you. It is naturally available to you. So when you begin to orient to that, everything is always working out for me. Life wants to give to me. It wants to provide for me. It's the way of life. Like on my walk, there's wild blackberries. Life wants to provide. There's elderberries. It's not because anybody planted them. It's not because somebody's tending it. It's nature. Life wants to keep, life is prosperous. It wants to grow. It wants to flourish. Seeds naturally spread. They naturally reproduce. It's part of the cycle of life. And just as such, right, life is wanting us to flow, to prosperous, to be prosperous, to flourish. It's a natural encoded thing. Okay? So when you begin to orient to this and remember, then we can look at okay, well, what is the real fear and what is the resistance about? So if we have fear or we have resistance, then we could actually turn towards it and get curious about what is this? And most of the time, it's going to connect back to the stories, the patterns, the programs, the beliefs. The wounds, And so a lot of the work that I've been doing personally these days is about shifting my perception. So noticing okay, what do I believe about myself, but what do I also believe about the other person involved or the situation or the circumstance? When we can begin to detach from those energetics, from those stories, then we can create space for something new. Okay, so I'm not going to go deep into this on this specific live because that's not exactly what I'm here for. It would be too in depth. But just know that, you have the power within you. So if your energy is stuck, if it's blocked, if you're not receiving what you want, love, abundance, you have the power to shift it and change it. You don't need anyone else to do anything differently. It starts with you, and it starts with going inward towards yourself, okay? One thing that I do want to say here is we create like these concepts or these ideas that we need something outside of us to make us feel a certain way. And this is really tricky because sometimes we do. Sometimes we do need something outside of us to help us feel a certain way, right? But the truth is, when we're connected to ourselves and we're connected to God, we have access to that flow. We have access to what we actually need. And sometimes getting to that place of surrender is the thing that we need so that we can allow God to sort of breathe life into us, right? Like when we get so tired, when we get so like done, like the pain is too intense. And this is where I see a lot of people get stuck, because a lot of the self-help work that people are doing is like they're just trying to train their mind, and they're bypassing the emotions, and they're bypassing the actual experience. And when we don't allow ourselves to feel the discomfort, or to feel the frustration, or to feel the grief, or to feel the pain of the situation we're in, we don't actually get to that place inside of ourselves where like we surrender, we fully surrender. And we're like, I'm so exhausted. I need something bigger than me, something else to move through me, right? To like open me. When we let ourselves get to that place of surrender, usually we're pretty soft, we're tender. And that's where the receiving can begin to happen. And I remember I was thinking about this as I was sort of preparing for this live. So when I was first bringing my business online, I remember getting to this point where I ended up sharing in a Facebook group. I'm like, I have $1 in my bank account. Like, I don't know what to do. Can anybody, like, I'm not playing the victim here, but like, what do you recommend? And I remember people responded, and I was a little bit afraid, I was afraid of how people were going to respond. And then, somebody said, like, can I buy a session from you? Like, well, what are you offering? And how much do you charge? And can I buy a session? And I was like, oh, so actually me opening and asking for help, it allowed money to come in. Sometimes we are so prideful, we don't actually want to take that step of like being that vulnerable, but that's where the flow comes. That's where the flow happens. And, this can happen in business too, when we're used to showing up a certain way, or like we want things to look a certain way. So we want to have like the perfect website. We want to have the perfect copy. We want to have the perfect blah, 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 blah. And what I've seen for myself is the magic really happens in the space between, when we're like just being vulnerable and we're being ourselves and we're allowing ourselves to be in our process. And, often when we're trying so hard to get it to look a certain way, we're missing out on so much prosperity and so much love. Okay. So, so expectations around receiving. So this is another place where I see people sort of block themselves from receiving. So when we like know what we want, whether it's money, whether it's our partner to show up a certain way, maybe it's like we want to manifest a move, or whatever the thing is, when we have an expectation around receiving, we can put so much energy on that specific thing that we begin to cut off other avenues of receiving. So allowing yourself to release the expectations of what it needs to look like in order for you to receive, and also like releasing the expectations around what you want to receive. You know, like, yes to having intentions, yes to having desires, and also just because you want something doesn't mean that you can't receive other things. Like, yes to all of it, right? Yes to the thing you want, and also yes to letting other things in as well, as that prepares to come to you, you know? So notice, I invite you to notice, like, do you currently have any expectations around receiving and what you're receiving? And if so, can you allow yourself in this moment just to make the decision, like, I'm open to life flowing to me. I'm open to being supported. I'm open to receive grace. I'm open to receive compassion. I'm open to receive love. I'm open to receive magic in whatever way it wants to come to me. Like, let yourself expand. Let yourself give more things a place to land. I'm open to receive compliments. I'm open to receive, you know, I've noticed the masculine has been showing up for me. So they've been opening doors. And, you know, one day I went to the church and this man was placing flowers on Mother Mary, like at her feet. And it was so sweet. It was so sweet. And I just love like witnessing the masculine in like cherishing the feminine and cherishing the divine mother. So like, yeah, allowing yourself to open to all of these different things. It doesn't have to just be something tangible like money or a specific thing. Can you receive the nutrients from the food that you're eating? You know, can you receive the presence of just being here and whatever gifts are here for you in this moment? When we allow ourselves to open in all of these ways, we open our senses, we open our sensuality. Not only are we opening more to God, because God is within us and God is within all of life. So it's like the more we're opening to receive life, the more we're opening to love, the more we're opening to God, the more we're opening to ourselves. Because when we receive that love, then we get to feel our own joy. We get to feel our own love. Or, you know, sometimes it's uncomfortable and it's like, oh, this is uncomfortable to receive. Like, let me feel that, you know? Yeah. So expectations can block the flow. Also, tangled energy around giving, receiving. So we have these ideas and these concepts that in order to give, in order to receive, we have to give, or in order to give, we have to receive something. And this blocks the flow. So you can just start, like, again, just make the decision. I want to separate giving, receiving. I want to give because I want to give, and I want to receive because I want to receive. And like, they don't have to be intertwined. They don't have to be tangled. I don't have to give to receive, and I don't have to receive to give. They can be individual of each other. So if you're doing something in your business, like me doing this free series, you know, if I showed up with the expectation of like, I have to receive from doing this, I have to receive X amount of dollars, X amount of clients, there's like this pressure, there's this expectation. Right? But if I I know that when I allow energy to move through me, so, and this truly is my belief. So, and this is my experience. So not just the belief, but this is my experience. This is how energy works for me. This is what happens for me in my life. So when I allow energy to move through me, so giving a free series like this, it blesses me. It blesses me in so many ways. One, it feels so good for me to show up and share. I get to share my magic, and that feels really good. Sometimes it's scary, right? Like yesterday, it was like, so much energy moving, like it was kind of uncomfortable. It shifts my energy. So just for me shifting my energy and letting energy flow through me, it opens me. It opens me so that things come to me. Signs show up, magic shows up for me, money shows up for me, people show up for me. Usually I start to get feedback, which feels really good as well. And even if I don't get those things, still just being in the energy of my own work, there's a frequency to that, and that in itself feels good to me. It's like singing in the car, right? Like when you're just allowing yourself to play and have fun, there's a feeling in that. Or like if you're cooking in the kitchen and you have the radio on, it feels good. Maybe drinking wine. It's like, it's a whole experience. And for me, doing a class like this, it's a whole experience. It feels good. I enjoy it. And so just that in itself is me giving to me. And then when I can receive that, it puts me in a different state because I'm filling up with my own magic. And this is kind of where I think a lot of people get confused because they're depleted. They are like reaching for something. They want to receive. And what happens is, they're not full. They're not resourcing from themselves. They're not resourcing from God. And so then it's like the external receiving is like not fully congruent. Like there's some misalignments, or like what shows up is a little bit wonky. It's not completely as nourishing as you'd want it to be, right? So when we fill up with our own juices and with source first, right? We're receiving that first, then it allows us to become magnetic in a different way. And then the things that we attract to us are more in alignment to our core nature and values. Okay. So if you're not attracting the things that you really want, rather than beating yourself up, my invitation would be like, how can you give to yourself? How can you fill your own cup? What would feel really delicious, right? And sometimes this is hard. For me, some days it's like, okay, sitting in the sun. I've been laying at the pool, walking the dog, playing with the dog, like actually running around with him or throwing the ball for him, spending time with the cat, brushing it, and like really just being present in my life to nourish myself. Okay. So, yeah, we want to start on that level of receiving and then let it build out, because that's when you're like cultivating from deep within yourself. And notice too, like if you are receiving external, like can you just receive things from the external world without having to give? Can you just let it fill you up and like hold it versus having to pour it back out? So receiving is actually a state of being. And when we can shift into that channel of it being a state of being, we start to experience life in a whole different way. When we are playing with these ideas and these concepts of a state of being, it is a little bit like radio stations, you know? So like, it's sort of like you come into the new station, and then sometimes you might be there for a little bit, and then like you slip out of it. And then you have to practice coming back into it, and then you might slip out of it. But when you can like lean into that place of everything is always working out for me, miracles, magic, prosperity, love, it's actually a natural state of being. It's everywhere. And you begin to orient to that. Life will begin to look different, feel different. Okay? So let me know how this is landing for you. Let me know what's coming forward. And we're going to drop in for the energy exercise. And I feel some energy moving and clearing, you know. It's like, for me, it's like when the energy's moving, it feels a little muddy or swirly. That's kind of the flavors that I'm feeling here. So if you're noticing that, just letting it flow. Like, you don't have to track it. You don't have to know what it is. Just letting it move out. You could even just say thank you. You know, thank you for releasing. Receive it, right? Like, receive the release. Receive the movement. And that's the other thing. It's like, sometimes we think like receiving means like holding it. But it's actually a state of prosperity, of flow, of letting it move. You know, our breath, we breathe in, we don't hold our breath. It's a natural flow. So we breathe in and then we breathe out. Even if you tried to hold your breath, you could hold it for so long and then you'd have a natural exhale. That was something that I noticed this morning. It's like I'm sitting with the anxiety and the tension, you know, and I'm like, how long am I going to have to sit with this? And then finally, you know, it's like the message presents itself like, okay, you can send the email or you can do the thing. So, you know, sometimes I think we get so scared that if we don't just do the thing, like we're never going to have the opportunity to do it, or you know, we haven't trained ourselves to really focus our energy or receive the fullness of the experience. So it's a practice of like playing with the energy and trusting the flow of the energy that's wanting to move through. The creation energy. Okay, so go ahead and take a few breaths. Put one hand on your heart, one on your belly. And I want to invite you to think of something that you're wanting to receive. So I know we said like, let's open the channels, but I want you to think about what's something, you know, whether it's deeper intimacy with a specific person, or maybe it's more money flow in your business. Maybe it's clarity around something. I want you to think of something that you want to receive. And you can even imagine it in front of you. So if it is a person or if it is money, go ahead and imagine that. If it's clarity around a certain thing, you can ask it to take a form, or like an object to come forward, just for your imagination, for the energy purpose of this exercise. And what I want to invite you to do, using your imagination, or your seeing, your clairvoyance, some energy is moving because I feel it bubbling up from my belly. Go ahead and imagine, like, you can ask. So ask the energy to show you, what is my connection to what it is that I want, whatever's in front of you. So yeah, just go ahead and ask it to show itself. And I'll give you a couple of examples just for those of you who might be new to this kind of work and need a little bit of guidance. So it might show up sort of like an umbilical cord, or like a tube of sorts. Some of you, I see sort of like a railroad track, or more like a mechanical system that's connecting you. Some of you, it almost feels intertangled in your energy, or like enmeshed in your energy. So just see how you're feeling it or how you're seeing it. Okay, great. So the next thing that I want to ask is, what is your availability to receive? So we'll just ask that to come forward. And again, just however it wants to present itself. So it may be limited to this person. It might not be limited to this person. Just see what presents itself, what comes forward. So, of you, what I'm seeing is your receiving is so focused on this thing that's in front of you, you can't see or feel all the other things that are available to you. So this may or may not feel true for you. But what I want to invite here, if it feels good, is let's just ask Spirit, Source, Divine, any of your spiritual helpers, your guides, your spiritual support team, if they can help you to open your energy to more possibilities, more opportunities to receive. So rather it just having to be from this specific thing, all the things that are wanting to come to you, can we open those doors or open those receptors? And for some of you, I can feel like you feel overwhelmed. So if that feels overwhelming, we could explore, like, how could you set some kind of boundary? What would you need? What would you need to feel safe in order to allow your energy to open? You might check your connection with the earth and see, like, are you grounded? And how would it feel to ground, right? To allow Mama Earth to hold you and support you. Can you receive from the earth? So as you're opening to receive, can you allow yourself to receive from the earth? From the divine? And just remember, receiving is a natural state of being. So gravity is already supporting you. Your breath is already supporting you without you having to do anything. Your organs, they are working. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to ask them to do something for you. So how would you know if it's safe to receive? How would you know? Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah, so just feel yourself settling, relaxing. It's a very, it is a softening process. So like letting yourself get soft, it's not a active process. It's a very passive process of softening and opening. So letting yourself soften into your body, into your breath. And as you are leaning deeper into receiving mode, I invite you to check your connection to the thing that you want or desire, and just see, what do you notice about it? Has it changed any? Beautiful. Yeah, and let's just bring in some golden energy. So like we did on day 2, just inviting in some golden energy. You might bring it through your breath, maybe from the earth, your crown, however it wants to come to you. Allowing it to fill you up. Rinsing out any old energy that's ready to go. Bringing renewal, new life. Divine nourishment. Inviting it to remind you and help you remember how magical you are. So you can stay here as long as you would like. For the purpose of this live, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. If you're ready to come out of the meditation, you can go ahead and take a few breaths, coming back into your body, wiggling your fingers and your toes, thanking your guides, thanking spirit, your spiritual support team, and also yourself for being so willing and for supporting you today. And yeah, as you allow this to integrate, I'd love to hear what you noticed or what you noticed in this experience. And if you know that you're ready to go deeper, reach out to me. So I have some spots available to work with me one-on-one. And as I mentioned earlier in the week, I'm also going to be leading a energy program. So it's going to be a 6 weeks energetic toolkit class, and I'd be delighted to share more about that with you as well. If you're interested in learning more tools and techniques to really learn to work with your energy. So it's more like these energy experiences that we did. I'll be teaching you more intentionally how to work directly with your energy. So if you're interested in that, reach out to me and I'd be happy to share more. I'm sending you so much love.